Chapter 427, Hunter's Cooperation. The suspected black hunting spider flashed and disappeared into the shadows on the other side of the hall. Lumion only saw it, but didn't react in time. Albus Medici and Elrose Einhorn were equally caught off guard. By the time Irida sensed the abnormality and looked up at the ceiling, the colossal black spider had vanished. "What are you looking at?" the poet asked curiously, casually commenting, "There's no mural on the walls of the underground maze. This doesn't match the Sauron family's former glory." In the northern continent, murals were essential when constructing grand buildings. All painters took pride in being invited to create these magnificent works of art, especially when it came to epic paintings on cathedral domes and walls. These paintings were not just a status symbol, but also required months or even years to complete. Lumion withdrew his gaze and smiled. "I saw a venomous spider. No one has been here for a long time. It seems to have become a haven for dangerous creatures." Without waiting for Irida's response, he suggested, "Albus, Elrose, and I have impressive skills and extensive hunting experience. It's clear you lack sufficient training. Why don't you return to the surface ahead of time? Continuing forward could be perilous for you. You don't truly believe you can find the crown and become king, do you?" Irida muttered, "No problem. You're my sponsor after all. If it weren't to accompany you guys and have some fun, I wouldn't venture into this pitch-black underground. I'm past the age of adventuring and performing arts. All right, I'll head back to the surface now and wait for you in the living room. There's La Fée Verte, black tea, refreshments, and tobacco. It's much more comfortable than here." As the poet spoke, he turned and walked toward the stone steps at the hall's exit. Just as he took several steps, a blaze erupted from the shadow on his right, hurtling towards Irida like a crimson spear. Behind Lumion, flames surged around Albus Medici, transforming him into a crimson spear that collided with the flaming spear attacking the poet. The member of the Iron and Blood Cross Order transformed into a crimson spear and flew out with a whoosh, colliding with the flaming spear that had attacked the poet. With a resounding crash, the two flaming spears disintegrated, revealing Albus Medici and the colossal black spider with a withered heart. The spider emitted a high-frequency squeak, raising its body and swinging its four thick-furred limbs, resembling scythes that flickered with a cold light, at Albus Medici. At the same time, a nearly white-hot spear flew and struck the side of the black spider, incinerating its hard shell and piercing through it. It was Elrose Einhorn. She seemed prepared and quietly shifted her position, waiting for the colossal black spider to appear. In the next moment, agile crimson fire ravens followed different trajectories, rushing into the wound created by the burning white spear. Rumble! The fiery explosion within the colossal black spider's body created a chaotic storm of flames, tearing at its outer carapace and flesh. Lumion didn't hold back his impressive abilities. He had started condensing the fire, raven the moment Albus Medici confronted the assailant. The colossal black spider's scythe appendages missed Albus, who had seized the opportunity to retreat. Under the relentless assault, the spider emitted a piercing screech that reverberated within its chitinous shell. The shriveled, blackened heart behind it suddenly glowed dark red, creating blazing fireballs. These fireballs formed a net, enveloping the colossal black spider, and shot toward Lumion, Albus, and Elrose, leaving crimson trails in their wake. In contrast, Irida, who had been stunned by the superhuman battle, was ignored and unharmed. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As Lumion and the others dodged the incoming fireballs, one of them shot deep into the hall, dissipating quickly. Hidden within the fireball, the colossal black spider seized the opportunity to break through Lumion and the others' encirclement and disappear once more. The crimson flames around them continued to burn. Albus Medici glanced at the dark red liquid dripping from the heavily injured black spider, but didn't immediately pursue it. Instead, he smiled at Lumion and said, "Nice baiting." Lumion didn't deny it. He had asked poet Irida to return to the surface alone to lure out the colossal black spider as bait. If the spider didn't take the bait, Irida would have left the underground palace without any danger. But if the spider planned to hunt an ordinary person alone, Lumion was ready to use spirit world traversal and the spell of Harumph to protect the target. He aimed to eliminate the creature, suspected to be a potion ingredient, as quickly as possible. With such an opportunity, he wasn't willing to hold back and hide his trump cards. He wanted to end the battle swiftly to prevent any mishaps. Unexpectedly, Albus Medici's reaction was quicker than his. Therefore, Lumion stopped in time and switched to Fire Ravens. He intended to observe the black spider's combat style and uncover any secrets it might hold. Now, Lumion was certain that the colossal black spider was more formidable than a black hunting spider. If it were the latter, it would never have escaped the encirclement of 3 hunters. It would have perished from the repeated explosions. Although it was confirmed that the black spider wasn't equivalent to a black hunting spider, it was undoubtedly from the hunter pathway. With the corresponding Beyonder powers, the special parts on its body could certainly be used to brew potions. Lumion turned to Elrose and said straightforwardly, "That monster is different from a black hunting spider. There's a human-like heart on its back. What's going on?" Elrose gazed at the dark red blood dripping into the hall's shadows, pondering for a moment. "I've never seen such a Beyonder creature before." She paused for a moment before continuing. "All I know is that if the owner of Red Swan Castle and many core members of the Sauron family don't go mad and venture into the depths of the underground palace without returning, someone will extract their heart and send it somewhere in the underground palace." Upon hearing this, Lumion suddenly recalled a scene he had dreamt of due to the lingering effects of the King's Pie game. In a bronze coffin surrounded by countless white candles, a hand with dark red, almost black blood vessels extended, holding a shriveled, withered black heart with some blood seeping out. What the fuck is the Sauron family up to? Lumion couldn't help but curse inwardly. What lay in the depths of this underground palace, and how many mutated monsters lurked within? At that moment, Poet Erida finally snapped out of his daze. He looked at Lumion and the others in shock, fear, and excitement. "Are all of you Beyonders capable of using Beyonder powers?" "You know about Beyonders, too." Albus Medici wore an expression that suggested he wasn't worthy of knowing. As Erida approached Lumion, he quickly explained, 7 or 8 years ago, I went to a battlefield to gather material and saw something. I knew that there were many people in our army who could use superpowers. They were called Beyonders." "We do have superpowers, and they look quite similar," Lumion said with a smile, glancing around. "Do you want to follow us deeper or return to the surface yourself?" Erida didn't hide his fear and muttered, "Of course, I'll follow you. Although it's very likely that I'll encounter the large spider again, it's better than walking alone in the darkness with unknown monsters lurking around. I don't want the last poem of my life to be, 'Oh, foolish Erida.'" Lumion pondered for a few seconds and calmly said, "If you wish to return to the surface, I can escort you to the entrance of the underground palace. Then I'll definitely choose to return." Erida changed his mind without hesitation. Lumion then turned to Albus and Elrose and asked, "Do you want to join me, wait here, or venture deeper by yourselves?" Albus Medici gave Lumion a deep look and sneered. "I didn't expect you to be such a moral person. You can escort this poet with a dubious reputation yourself." His implication was clear. You must have ulterior motives for escorting someone out, considering your lack of morals. He didn't specify if he intended to stay or venture in alone. "I'm with Albus," Elrose, who stood by Albus, replied with a smile, holding the carbide lamp. Lumion observed the dark red blood droplets left by the black spider and proceeded to ascend the stone steps with Erida, using the carbide lamp for illumination. In the pitch black and silent underground, they returned to the corridor where the wax statue artisan and the iron soldiers were. Poet Erida glanced back at the deep darkness below and said to his sponsor, "Those two shouldn't be simple." "I know," Lumion replied nonchalantly. Holding the carbide lamp that emitted a yellowish glow, he advanced at a moderate pace. Erida walked closely beside him and continued in his usual tone. "The war between the Lone Kingdom and the Faceac Empire ended over 7 years ago. But Miss Elrose mentioned that her father died in the war 6 years ago. If I recall correctly, it was likely due to dissatisfaction with the Faceac Empire's losing treaty, leading to a rebellion. This was a civil war in the Faesac Empire. Why did Miss Elrose mention the Lone Kingdom? Is her father a representative of the extreme faction or a member of the royal family who perished in the rebellion? A member of the royal family who rebelled. Is that why they fled to Trier? Lumion considered the information provided by the political enthusiast, Irida. Irida glanced at his sponsor and continued, "Actually, before today, I saw Albus Medici elsewhere." Lumion's curiosity was piqued as he asked, "Where?" Irida glanced around and lowered his voice. "Sacred Heart Cloister,